If you're seeing this video, perhaps it means you're ready to go deeper into your spiritual journey. And I just felt called to do this video. I have no plan or anything. I'm just going to flow, but I want to talk about the three main type of beliefs and why this is so important. Because right now everybody's talking about doing affirmations, identity shifting, and all of that, always so that you can manifest what you want or become a millionaire. And that's another illusion. And it's important to understand why these things are very surface level and how to go deeper. And it has to do with the mind and beliefs. So first of all, beliefs create your reality. You probably heard that a million times on social media over the past few years. I believe that beliefs don't create your reality, they influence it. Beliefs are like in your mind, and consciousness goes through the mind and it creates a sort of limitation and you're projecting your reality. So in a way, beliefs limit and influence your reality. Every belief is limiting because it's an idea about the world or about you being separated from the world, which means it's an error. It's not fact. And if you analyze and you start practicing meditation and you observe and you investigate, you go deeper within, you're going to see that every thought, every belief is just a story of the mind. Most of them comes from your past, and a lot of them come from the observation of the world. But all of them are just stories, and stories that you have not chosen. That's really important. And the problem is we identify with our mind and the story of our mind. And all these thoughts, instead of letting them go, we pursue them and made them our own as if they come from us. So it gives the impression that we are the mind, that we are our thoughts. And that's why meditation and the practices of awareness is the key to your spiritual awakening. Because awakening is not about realizing that the world is corrupt. It's realizing that you're in a dream, that everything your mind does is produce stories, and that you exist as the peaceful awareness behind the story. And when you meditate and you find the source of your awareness, you realize that all of the stories are meaningless. You're just stealing your life. They're stealing the truth from you, the truth that you exist in peace, because the mind produces always stories in time, in linear time, because of language, which means that it always plays your peace in a future where you have a lot of money or you're with that specific person, which is a perpetual illusion. And the mind never stops because it always wants to maintain its illusory use, because you don't really are your mind. It almost like it stole your identity. So the three main type of belief, first of all, and I've started talking about it, it's all these stories about the world, about you, who you are, and basically almost all your thoughts and belief. They're all stories. Even your identity is a story. It's basically the story being born from these parents with this name, with this physical body, with this voice in your mind that you think is yours, and everything that happened to you. A story of linear time. That's your identity. And the mind keeps producing that identity. And people think, oh, if I shift my identity, then I'm going to be able to become rich or manifest my dream life. First of all, like I said, it's just going to keep pushing your peace in the future, even if you start making more money or with that specific person or live in that house. Because peace is who you actually are. It's not the story of your mind. The mind makes up the story that you are the story of the mind, but you exist beyond that. It's not the real you. And it's only when you rest in peace with no mental activity and not engaging with your mind that you can see the truth. So the mind makes it challenging for you, and technology makes it even more challenging because it influences your brainwave just like when you were a child, and allows the the world to plant stories in your mind. And that's why everybody now is doing the same thing, repeating the same thing as everybody else, because they're easily influenced through social media, through technology. The goal of technology is influencing your mental activity, your mind. So the key to understand is that your identity is also a story. It's a belief. It's not the truth. You are not a physical body. You existed beyond your parents before being born, and you will exist after this body dies. And you are not the voice in your mind. So the whole, because it's important to understand there's what your mind tells you, but it also, there's what it is implied. Your mind doesn't tell you you are this body, but it is implied. So it's a belief that is in the background that is more important than the belief that you keep hearing. The belief that this is going to be hard, that you can't do this, that you should not do that this person doesn't like you. These are all just stories. But they're also a lot of time connected to that sub-story that is your main identity, which is also a story, which means it's not true. The real story is you are infinite awareness and you don't need anything outside of you. You're having a dreamlike experience. And every experience is designed to give you feedback so that you feel where you're out of alignment with truth. The truth that sets you free, the truth that you don't need anything outside of you, that you exist beyond time, that you are infinitely peaceful and happy. Happiness and peace are two sides of the same coin. It's when you don't need to seek anything because you know thyself. That's why all the ancients talk about knowing thyself. That's the truth that sets you free, knowing yourself. And every great spiritual text, not New Age, will tell you there's only one self. That's who or what you have to find within. Again, the deeper you go inside, the deeper the insight. And you realize that you don't need anything external, because the external world is designed for you to experience your inner world. So when you do affirmation, a lot of these affirmation that people try to say, oh, watch this video, do this affirmation, you're gonna manifest $1 million. That's ridiculous, because in 99.99% of the case, you have so many stories underneath, and at the bottom, your story, your identity, that are all contradicting the affirmation that you're trying to plant in your subconscious. So that's why affirmation is almost useless, but in many cases, I would say just very surface level and inconsistent, and not the key to manifesting what you want. The key to manifesting what you want is to not try to manifest anything and allow life to make it for you, because you are life. It's like a reflection. It's a mirror. You just need to know that you're already whole. That's the story you need to plant within you. You are infinite intelligence. Your being comes from an infinite reservoir of peace, of love. Therefore, you're already whole. And the key is to understand that your identity that your mind is making up started, get this, started when you felt unloved by your parents. That's the voice that your mind, that you hear, that your mind start making up a story, because from that moment, you felt separated from your parents' unconditional love. And unconditional love, it's just not their affection and attention, is the fact that they were protecting you, providing for you, caring for you in every moment. At one point, the first story, belief that your mind made up, is that you existed outside of unconditional love because of what you were experiencing from your parents. That's the beginning of your identity. And that's why identity shifting is incomplete. It's always about making up a story so that you get what you think you want. But your desires, most of them don't come from your soul. They come from the stories of your mind that you picked up from the world. They're not going to bring you happiness. Happiness is realized as your identity within yourself, as the self, as being already whole. You're already one with everything, which means you don't need anything. And when it's you don't need anything at all, you emanate this energy that makes you quote-unquote magnetic. Again, you're not really attracting. It's an illusion. You're in a dream, a reflection of consciousness. So the key is to realize that this is the story at the bottom, and the story of who you are, your identity, always implies lack and separation, because you felt separated from unconditional love, the unconditional love of your parents. So the beginning, the spark of your identity and your mental activity is, and again, you don't hear that thought, it's implied. It's that you're separated and you lack something. And all the identity that people trying to make up still implies a lack and a separation. There's no lack and separation. That's the dream you're here to overcome. You're to come from wholeness and from peace and happiness. And love, it's the experience of being connected to everything and everyone. And the more connected you feel with someone, just like a parent with their child or a romantic relationship, stronger feeling of connection, of love. Peace and happiness is your true nature. It's when you don't need anything. And you need to investigate it to realize it, because your realization, when you go deeper within yourself, remove these beliefs about yourself or about the world. Because like I said, all these beliefs are limiting. That's the first type of belief. They're just stories. And when you meditate, you can see that all your thoughts and your deeper beliefs, when you investigate, they're just stories. And you have not chosen them. And you can let them go. And when you bring them into the light of awareness, when you're calm and you place your awareness within, you can see them for what they are, a story. And then you can let it go. It's when you're not aware of them that they keep influencing you. That's basically shadow work, becoming aware. And a lot of the time they're going to bring an emotion or memory or an image. You just become aware of it and you sit with it and you observe it and you invite it to feel it fully, to understand it fully and realize what was happening in your inner world so deep that you were not aware of it. Now, the second type of belief that I want to mention is obviously beliefs that are also stories, but they're true in a way. For example, like, I can't play in the NBA. It's a story, but it's also true because we're still experiencing a dream with physical limitation. So it's a limiting belief, but it's also, you have to be, I don't want to say realistic, but I'm 35 and I'm 5'7". I'm not going to play in the NBA. I suck at basketball. So even if I wanted to be, or let's say in the NHL, I'm more of a hockey player, I'm not going to play in the NHL. So it's a story, but because people nowadays try to be so delusional in order to manifest, but in a way, like, it's nonsense. You have to understand that there's also limitation that are implied in this physical experience, because there's circumstances and they need to follow certain patterns. And then the third one, which I already start mentioning, the third main type of beliefs is truth statement. The first category, it's all these stories that are anchored in the world, in your past, in what people tell you, in your identity. That also comes from, like I said, the idea of the implied idea that sparked your identity, which is lack and separation, from unconditional love, which is an illusion. The main illusion that we're all experiencing and that we need to remind ourselves. And when you shift your identity, if you want to go deeper, you have to go to the core of that. And that's why the third category of beliefs is the key, because instead of building an identity of I am a millionaire or whatever it is, like, no, I'm one with infinite awareness. I have access to God or the source. I have access to infinite intelligence and creativity. There's nothing that can actually prevent me from writing this book, from traveling the world, from, like, one of the problems that I see a lot is a lot of people's beliefs are very in the egoic structure. Again, which always imply a lack and separation. And a need to fill that lack and separation with an external circumstances, which is the illusion of being in ego consciousness. Because, for example, I'm going to give you a big example. A lot of people are like, I'm worthy to manifest anything I want. I'm worthy to be a millionaire. There's no such thing as worthiness. It's a made-up concept from the ego, the child that felt unloved. It's a pattern, an energetic response to your parents and the feedback you got from life when you were young. A lot of time with your parents' relationship. Nobody is worthy or unworthy of something. That's an illusion. And just think about the energy. I'm worthy of that, or I'm not worthy. Like it's a child response. It's the voice, the energy of a child, of being fragile. But you're no longer a child, aren't you? There's no such thing. Like you can use these type of beliefs to help you like create a buffer. Like it's better to create the story, because it's still a story, it's not the truth, that you're worthy of being in your dream relationship, than feeling unworthy and having this story being implied, because you don't bring the story and the image or the energy, the emotion to the light of awareness in total observation and total acceptance, no resistance, so that you can let it go and realize that that was just a pattern in a dream and you're now free. And now you demonstrate it through your energy, through your decision and behavior, as a proof that you're free from that you no longer exist in the projection that you're creating. So yeah, it's better to say I'm worthy than to believe that you're not worthy or unconsciously believe it. But in reality, again, it's a childhood pattern. You're not worthy of unworthy. You are infinite awareness in a point of concentration, having your own dream-like experience, your own projection. There's no such thing as being worthy of unworthy. And if you investigate it, you're going to realize it's just a story that your mind made up, part of the identity, which is also a story that your mind made up from that moment in childhood that I told you about. And it started creating all these adjacent story and picked up all these stories of the world. And at the bottom there, this story of you being this physical body, which means an identity of your own. In other words, I'm this body. I'm separated from other because that's what I see and that's what I experienced from my parents. I was no longer connected to them unconditionally. So this third type of belief is that you need to make believe that our truth statement that imply that you are infinite awareness, that you don't need anything external, that you have access to infinite intelligence and infinite creativity, that you're already at peace, you don't need anything. That implies truth, because your identity otherwise is still implying lack and separation. And lack and separation means you're already trying to fix your reality as if there's something lacking. But what's lacking is not external. It's the lack of realization of who you are, because you haven't discovered who you truly are. You haven't been within yourself deeply enough. Because the truth shall set you free. Because the kingdom of God is within you. And it also says, be still and know that I am God. Stillness and silence is how you go deeper within yourself and you investigate. Sometimes it's just meditation. Sometimes it's investigation. You're investigating your pattern to do some kind of shadow work, bringing everything into the light of awareness. And if you start doing these things and meditating every day and going deeper, meditation means you rest in peace. You become the observer. You become peace itself. You realize that it's like an ocean. And when you're at peace, you're a perfect reflection of the light. And when you have mental activity, it creates a wave, it creates distortion. So you cannot see the perfect reflection, which means that what you observe in the world is always some sort of distortion. And your beliefs are like lenses that creates even more distortion, broken lenses. So you want to take them out. And your realization in what's free yourself, your inner worth from these stories and the emotion attached to these stories. And you realize, if you go deep enough, that everything was just a story. You're already free. You don't need anything. It's your attachment and your false identification with your thoughts and your mind that keeps perpetuating the illusion that you need something, because you have the wrong identity. Your identity implies that you're not whole, that you're separated, that you lack something. The truth sets you free, my friends. I'd love to hear your comments. If you have question, feedback, anything. Again, I just I didn't prepare anything. I just came to tell you this.